Welcome, folks, to this JMC Week webinar. It's July 17th, 2024. This is Paul Freed coming at you from Southeast Minnesota. It is a beautiful day in the Midwest. I can see my goats and llamas frolicking in the pasture today on our little farm. Glad to have you. We're going to be tackling enrollment procedures for incoming and outgoing students. Like I said, I'll do an introduction. My name is Paul Freed. I've been training with JMC for 20 years, all throughout the Midwest. Visiting schools. I love visiting schools and training folks how to use JMC more efficiently. And I've got Jody Schott with me. Jody's gonna be supporting on the Q&A channel there. Jody, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Jody Schott. I live up in the Brainerd Lakes area. Actually, today I'm in Alexandria, Minnesota at my cabin. So I'm looking at the beautiful lake, wishing I was out there. I am on the forms team, and I also do new school onboarding. So I'm glad to be here.
Yep. And this particular training is different than a lot of other ones that we've done. This is going to be how to manage enrollment for our main 4 states where we do state reporting. We're in over a dozen states. We serve schools, but there are 4 core states: Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Nebraska, and soon to be Illinois, actually, are states where we do state reporting. And so we're going to go through how to add, drop, and re-enter. And there's notes for each state. And I'm going to look at some databases for different states. So if you're a Minnesota school, you don't need to worry about what we're doing in Wisconsin or Iowa. I'll be addressing those things a little bit, but I'd say 97% of the steps are the same no matter which state you are in. But for these 4 states, there can be minor differences, which we draw out. And so this would be a great resource for anybody in your school who's managing enrollment of students, incoming and outgoing. All right, determining the correct procedure for student enrollment can be challenging due to various circumstances. This presentation covers common situations for students joining or leaving your school, enabling you to manage enrollment confidently and ensure accurate student information for school funding. By following the appropriate process, you can maintain precise student enrollment records. Please hold all of your questions until the Q&A session at the end of each section. If you do need to communicate with the host, feel free to use the Q&A chat feature in your webinar toolbar. Jody will be working with that there. And if you put a question in, we just might not get to it until the Q&A portion. All right, working with students entering your school, utilizing the new student wizard. First question, how do I create a new student record? When a student is entering your district for the first time, the new student wizard guides you through the steps of entering a new student who has never attended your district to accurately enter them into the system. Now, if in the YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're watching this and you've already, you have it live, we'll be sending you this presentation on YouTube. In the description, this presentation can be downloaded. You can click on these links here, and it will take you to our article on this particular link. So this is a high-level view, but you can click on those links. It'll take you right to that link in there. That's the ones that are blue and underlined, which is pretty cool. So the new student wizard is under Edit to New Student Wizard. You'll use the new student wizard. So how do I enroll a returning senior? So just to go back, and I apologize, I kind of got ahead of myself. A new student comes in, use the new student wizard. How do I enroll a returning senior? Use the new student wizard to enter the student who is returning 5th year senior. Again, you can click on this for the link for that article. The returning student option allows you to enroll students who previously graduated from 12th grade but are returning to complete additional credits to complete their graduation. We call them affectionately a super senior here in my neck of the woods. And how do I enroll a student who's accidentally deleted from my JMC site? So you accidentally delete somebody else. Oh my gosh, what should I do? Well, every year is year specific, so you can bring them back into your database. The new student wizard can also be used to re-enter a student who attended your school in the prior year, but was accidentally deleted from your JMC database. This allows you to restore the student's information without duplicating the profile. Again, you'll choose returning student. When you choose returning student, it looks at all the students in your previous year's database. So let's take a live look at using the new student wizard. So again, new student comes into your school. What should you do? You'll come under File, under Edit, I apologize, down to New Student Wizard. Under Edit to New Student Wizard. No matter what state you're in, this is what you'll do. If they are new to your district, you'll click New to the District, hit New Student, and you'll put in their last name. We'll put in Freed, first name, Julie. You've got to enter in a gender because we won't let you proceed without that, because if that's just required for state reporting. That's actually all you need to do. After that, you can hit the save button, and I'll talk about in a minute what happens when you click the save button over there. but you don't need to enter anything else. If you want to put the birth date in here, you want to put the grade level in, that's up to you. You can always come back and enter that information later. So that's all there is to that. Now, if I hit the save button, it's going to take me to the add student screen. We're going to get to that in just a moment. So I'm going to come back to that. I do want to show you if you're putting in a super senior or a 50-year senior or a student who's been deleted, it's a very similar process. Edit, down to new student wizard. Now I'm going to choose returning student. This is going to look back and I can find students who are in the previous year that are not in the current school year's database. So you'll see I don't have a lot of students here because it's only looking at the students who are in my current, who are not in my current database, but were in a previous database. Like, oh, you know what? This student right here already, let's do here. We'll do Cody John Avens. Cody John Avens was with our school as a kindergarten student. He left. We deleted him out last year because he hadn't been back in 6 years or something like that. Well, this year he'd be a senior. He's coming back. Choose that. It's going to say, is it Cody Evans? Do I want to accept that student? I click accept, and it's going to bring that student in here and also have their contact information as well, because we're looking back at that previous year. I think it said 13, 14 there, and bringing all that information to be current. So it's a pretty cool way to enter a new student. And then if you do that, you'd simply again hit the save button. And we'll talk about adding the add codes in at that time when you get to that part of this presentation here. So that is adding a new student in here there as well. So Jody, is there any questions or anything you want to add to that portion? It's pretty straightforward.
No. Yeah, it's pretty, yeah, no questions and nothing to add. So
great. So the new student wizard, easy to use. All right, enrolling returning students. Now, how do I enroll a student who's returning at the start of the school year? Okay, so this is where we start looking at different things that different states do. So schools in Nebraska and Iowa use the add student feature to enroll students who left the district before the end of the school year and is returning for the day one of the school year. So again, they left last year and they're coming back during the current school year. Okay, so they'll come in and use that add student feature. So I'll go attendance, student to add student, and that'll be that record that's listed there. And I'll show that in just a moment here. Actually, I'll start with that. So schools in Nebraska and Iowa, if a kid comes back basically over the summer, right, who's returning for the start of the school year, in Iowa and Nebraska, we go under attendance, student to add student. Attendance, student to add student. Oops, I got to go into my building here. Attendance, student, add student here. And what you'll do, and I'll go back here, is it'll show you what to do right there. That's the add student. You'll re-enroll a student who's left before the end of the prior school year, returning day one that's listed there. And you can choose that first day that's listed here. So this is my Iowa database. In Nebraska, so here's my Nebraska database here. I'm going to attendance, student to add student. And I can choose that first day of school and I can add them in to that database. Okay, now, if I'm not in Nebraska or Iowa, what are my options? Schools in Minnesota and Wisconsin can reactivate their student who left the district and is returning for day one of the new school year using the View Student Data page. The reason we have it this way is this is what the states require. We don't decide these things, the states do. So for Minnesota and Wisconsin, we reactivate the student. What does that mean? It means that I've come in here, I'm going to go to my Minnesota database. I go to the View Student Data screen. To find that student, the way I would do it is I would go to all my inactive kids. Because again, the kid's not active. They were gone in the previous year. I'd find my inactive student here. They're all going to have asterisks next to their name. So we're going to do Macy Clay. Okay. Macy Clay is not last year, was not active, was not in attendance, was not in March because they weren't part of our school this year. But they're joining back this year. I simply say, all right, they're joining for their state reporting, attendance, and active. And then JMC will create the correct enrollment record for them to start the first day of school. It's the same in Wisconsin as well. If I go to attendance, to View Student Data, okay, on that View Student Data screen, you could choose all and find the student if you want. Sometimes people have all. I'm not a big fan of that. You can, but let's do it that way. Brent Benson, coming back to school after being gone, choose active, attend, stay reporting, and click save. Just be over here. And that'll be done on the first day of school. So to repeat, I'm going to go back, just repeat, because repetition is key to learning. Iowa, Nebraska, you go to attendance, student, add student, and choose the first day of school, choose the information and add them in. Wisconsin, Minnesota, you come in and just reactivate them. Again, helpful tip, use the add student feature in JMC Office to re-enroll students who left your district during the prior year, make this full screen, and are returning to day one of the current school year. Now, so that's right there. And that's pretty straightforward again as well. Just make sure you're doing it the way your state does it. Every state is different in the way that what they require. These are just the differences between the state. Now, how do I enroll a student who left and returned in the same school year? Okay, so how do I enroll a student who's left and returned in the same school year? You'll use the re-enter student feature to re-enroll a student who already attended at least one day of the current year, left, and is now returning to your school in the same year. That's the only reason we use re-enter student, because it means that they've been here, they left, and they came back. It is not that they were here last year and came back. It's all during the same school year. And they go to attendance student to re-enter student again. Okay, we'll come in here and I'll show you how to do that. And here's just kind of a cool thing about this screen. And this is the same no matter what state you're in. You go to attendance, student, re-enter student. And you'll see actually there's no students listed here. I'm in the 24-25 school year. It is July of 2024. There's not going to be students listed there. So let's go to 23-24. Now here's the cool thing about this. It only shows me students here. There's 2 students listed here who were at my school for at least one day. Let's say these students came till October 1st, left October 1st, came back, oh, I don't know, January 13th. These are the only kids that are going to show up because we don't want you to accidentally pick a student who's not been at your school, left and came back during the same school year. So I'll choose Kim. I'll go down to January 13th. I'll say January 15th. Fill out all the information. This will be different for each state, so yours might not match this. If you're in a state this is an Iowa database, I click re-enter, and it'll say this student has been re-entered. A corresponding enrollment history record was recreated. You may also verify the student enrollment tab history on the student data page, which is Wisconsin specific or Iowa specific, and click OK. Now that student's not on here anymore because they're now active in your current system there. So really easy to be able to do that. So that we took a live look at re-enrolling students there. If people have questions, they sure can type them in. But again, it's once you see how straightforward it is to follow these directions, I think it's pretty easy, right? We went through adding students in, re-enrolling students, and the next thing we're gonna go through is dropping students there as well. I do want to see if people have any questions, so I'm gonna wait for a minute, and I just want to I want to reiterate one other thing, that for students, I'm gonna go back to slide number, nope, this one right here. How do I enroll a student who start returning at the start of the school year? We use this add student function. This is part of the new student wizard. So this is one other note that you might want to make a note of. I'm going to go through the new student wizard to show you how we add a new student in. And then I'm going to show you how to use that add student. And I'm going to make one quick note as well. So if I come in here and I'm in, let's see again, make sure I'm on the right database, Nebraska and Iowa. So I'll use my Iowa database. Here I'm in an Iowa school. I'm going to go to edit, new student wizard, put another student in, new to the district, and this is that person's going to be, we'll do Jody Scott, Jodi, female, grade 7. Now when I click the save button in the new student wizard, it takes me automatically to the add student screen. I'm in the previous year's database, so it's going to ask me, do I want to put them in next year's database? Yes, I do. And so Jody Schott's listed. I have to choose the day that Jody came. If Jody came on the first day in Nebraska or Iowa, I have to double check. Yep, Nebraska and Iowa. I will choose the first day of school and add them in. Now, if I am a Minnesota or Wisconsin school, I can actually click skip add here. And because I'm putting that student in for the first time. So if I click skip add, James already knows, hey, we're putting them in. The active, attend, and state reporting flags are checked there as well. So we make it easy for you to be able to do that as well. So new students, always use the new student wizard. Always, after you do that, you'll go to that add screen, Nebraska and Iowa, put a code in. So put a code in here on the attendance student, add student screen. They'll choose, the student will be chosen, choose the first day. If it's Minnesota and Wisconsin, there'll be a skip ad button listed here. You can skip that ad, and then it will automatically take you back to the view student data screen, and all of their flags will be checked. That's listed there. So that's what you do for somebody coming on the first day of school. The only exception is, and I'm just repeating what I talked about before, is if I come in and let's say, for example, I'm doing a different circumstance. Jody Schott was at my school 3 years ago and left, or last year, whatever it might be. And Jody says, hey, I'm coming back for the first day of school, right? How do I re-enter that returning student here? Okay. Then that's where I come here and I reactivate that student that's listed here. Reactivate there because they were already in my current system that's listed there. I don't want to put Jody in again because she was already in the current school year that's listed there. So really easy to add students. Just make sure you know what your state can do. Jody, is there any questions, or do I feel like we're knocking them off here?
I think there's no questions, so they must be getting it.
Here we go. Working with students leaving your school. Dropping students who leave during the school year. So this is after the school year has started. To withdraw a student who has attended for at least 1 day in the current academic year, use the drop student feature in JMC. And that's listed under attendance, student, drop student. Dropping a student maintains essential demographic and enrollment records crucial for state reporting and internal record keeping while removing the student from the active status. So here's how we do it. This is the same for every state. Super easy to do, but you do need to drop the students. Attendance, student, down to drop student. Attendance student to drop student. Choose a student here. Here's John Price. Choose the day. This is an Iowa database, so it's different than other ones. Transfer out of the district. What's the destination? And click drop. So that's an Iowa database. It's going to give you different information there. I'm going to go through each state because it's pretty straightforward. This is a Minnesota school. I go to attendance, student, drop student, choose a student, choose the day. They have less codes, choose whatever codes listed there, and I'm going to drop that student listed right there. Easy to do. Let's say that student here is in Wisconsin school. We would go under attendance, student, down to drop student. Again, different codes down here, but the process is still the same. Judy, here's the day, choose the codes and click drop. And Nebraska, again, very similar. Attendance, student, down to drop student. Again, choose a student, choose the day, and drop them. So really easy to do as we have that's listed there. Okay, I'm going to keep going because that one's so straightforward. I don't think folks are going to have a question about that. Oh, let's give me a little note there if we get back to my presentation here. There we go. All right, removing a student who left over the summer. Now, this is where it is different per state. So you want to, again, pay attention to what's going on for your state. How do I remove a student who left during the summer? So they were in your school database last year, 23-24. Now we're rolling to 24-25. It is July 17th. In Iowa and Nebraska, use the drop student feature to remove a student who's completed the previous school year, has left your school over the summer, and is not returning for the upcoming school year. You'll select day 0 here. Sometimes it says prior to the school year to indicate the student dropped prior to the school year. So in Iowa, Nebraska, so I'm going to go back to my databases here again. Here is my Iowa school. Attendance, student, drop student. I've got a prior to the school year. I'm going to drop the student, and I can drop the student listed right there. That's Iowa. And here is my Nebraska school. I'm going to go to attendance, student, drop student. Again, they have a 0 prior to the school year. Why did we do this for Iowa and Nebraska? That's what the state wants us to do. Now, I think it's Minnesota, Wisconsin the same, but we'll see in just a moment here. For students leaving over the summer in Minnesota or Wisconsin, you'll deactivate the student record on the View Student Data page. Remove check marks from the active, attend, MARS, or state report checkboxes to successfully withdraw the student for the upcoming school year. Basically, what you're doing is you're removing these checkboxes here. So you're saying, hey, this student's not coming back. In Minnesota and Wisconsin, they don't need a drop record. They're just picked up by the new school is basically what's happening. That's not how it is in Iowa, Nebraska. So in Minnesota and Wisconsin, I simply go to view student data. The student would be active because they're in my current database. So I'll find that student here. We'll find Smith. I got so many Smith students that I've been adding over the days. Oh, maybe not. Here's Susie Smith. I would uncheck active, attendance, Mars. You could uncheck the other ones like MCC in Minnesota, rank, honor roll, district. It's up to you if you want to, but these are the 3 that have to be checked so that they don't get sent in with a Mars record there. Again, you could uncheck all of them. It's not going to hurt anything. This kid's not going to be in the rank and honor roll and direct admissions, of course, because they're not attending your school. That is for our Minnesota school. For our Wisconsin school, I'll go to my view student data screen. Again, I like to be in my all active students. Find a student that's listed here. Uncheck, active, attend, state report, and you could click save. That's gonna be all you need to do. You might want to come in and uncheck rank and honor roll again. It's not going to matter, but you could do that and click save. And that is how we drop students who leave over the summer in Minnesota and Wisconsin listed there as well. So again, it's just a matter of following those directions to be able to do those things. Jody, any thoughts you have on dropping students in any of the states that you want to share?
Not that I can think of, no. I think it's pretty straightforward. It's, again, just follow what your state requires,
Yeah, and I think, the thing to note is don't deviate from the directions we have here, right? There are people can go in and uncheck boxes and check boxes and do stuff. You can't break something per se in JMC doing that. You can't do that, but you might not be following the steps that you need to follow. And so you want to make sure to follow these steps as we have them laid out here for each specific circumstance. And that's why we have kind of what we call a shorter video going through each of the circumstances. Now, the next thing we have is, I think this is, there's 2 more things, which is exiting graduating seniors, right? How do I properly exit graduating seniors from JMC? Add a graduation date for all seniors on the general tab of the view student data page to specify the exit date for students who have completed their education. Use the mass change fields. It's under edit to mass change fields feature in JMC Office to quickly assign graduation dates for all seniors. Okay, so when I go through this listed here, some states require this. You'd have to check with your state to make sure. But I really don't see a problem in doing it for any state. So if I was you, I would do this because it's just great to have it on the student's record. If I go to view student data first, you'll see there's a graduation date right here. If I go to, let's go to all my 12th graders here. I don't know if it's been done for this one's already got one here. Let's see. There we go. So Ted Crew doesn't have anything in there for that as a graduating senior. So when I go in here to edit, to mass change fields, I want to change my graduation date to the new value of, let's change this back to something more appropriate. We'll put this in June 5th. And you can do it for all students in grade level 12. You can put in here, if a student already has a value, don't change it. So I'm going to keep that. You could override it if you want, but I would not change it because maybe you had a student that graduated early or whatever it might be. And then you'll click find students. You can say, I want only active students, active, inactive, or only inactive, but I would do my active students and click find students. It says 5 students there for building number 40. Update that. Are you sure you want to do that? Yes, I do. So if I go back to my view student data screen and I look at Ted Crew, he's got a graduation date in there. So really easy to add in a mass graduation date. Some states require it, some don't. I would just do it because I think it's great to have in there in case you get a question 2 years from now. When did the student graduate? You don't need to look at the school calendar. You'll have it listed right there as well. So very easy to do. Exiting graduating seniors in Nebraska and Wisconsin. So they have extra steps. Wisconsin, Nebraska schools should complete the items pertaining to graduating student as part of WISE Data Advisor year-end state reporting process. So only Nebraska and Wisconsin go under their state to advisor or WISE Data to year-end, and there'll be some type of indication there for what needs to happen. So if I go to this is my Wisconsin, and I go Wisconsin. Oh, no, WISE Data, end year. And I go to, let's see here, or maybe I went to the wrong one here. Is general? Nope. This is last year. Let me go down to this one here. Sorry. year end. I think it's the mass exit students here. Yep, this option will exit those students listed there. I think this is what we do for grade 12. Again, check with your Department of Education. Just know that that needs to be done. That's listed there. Wisconsin also has graduation requirements and things like that, but we have the tools that you need to do that. If I go to my Nebraska database, again, it's a little bit different, down to Nebraska, down to, I thought it was advisor, down to end year. There we go. And this is for Nebraska postgraduate. Make sure all the postgraduate data elements are set on the edit student data page and send in postgraduate data. This again, where you need to know what your state's doing. I'm not going to belabor these points here, but we have the steps that are listed there for you. And if you want to, and this would be the best thing to do, use this document that you've downloaded up from the YouTube channel or that we've sent to you, and you can look at the expressed directions listed there as well. Okay. And then removing graduating seniors in Minnesota. Schools in Minnesota should update the graduating senior MARS record on the View Student Data page to show the appropriate encode for a student graduating from the district. And so what that means here, this is Minnesota only. I'm going to go to my Minnesota database on my View Student Data screen. I'm on a 12th grader under their MARS record. There's a status end date here code. And you can change that status end code that's listed right here to students graduated or something like there as well. I don't remember if we can mass change that. Let me just check and see here. Under edit to mass change. I don't remember. And this is going to be, there's the graduation date. Yeah, I don't think we can because the state doesn't want you to accidentally mass change multiple students there for their status encode there as well. So that's why we have that in there. So I just wanted to double check that to make sure. All right. And then removing graduating seniors in Iowa. Schools in Iowa should go to Iowa SRI, assign seniors as diploma category to update the diploma data element for seniors set to graduate. So it's under Iowa SRI, assign seniors a diploma category. So we come here to my Iowa database. Iowa, SRI, assign students, seniors a diploma category, and this just does it. It knows what to do. You just have to do that at the end of the school year and gives you some instructions that are listed there as well. So again, it's easy to do. You just need to know what your state is doing that's listed there as well. And I don't see any other questions. So we'll get to the last one, which is deleting a student from your JMC database. And then we'll be done with all the different options that you have. So we don't typically recommend deleting students from your JMC database, just so you know. The only reason I really recommend doing it is if you accidentally entered a student twice, you delete out the duplicate. Or if the student, if you put them in over the summer and they never show up on the first day of school and you don't think they're ever going to come, you could delete them there if you want to as well. Now, in the situation where there's a duplicate student, this is not, you don't have to do this, but it's something that I do if I'm helping a school do this. I'll go to the View Student Data screen. I'll find that student here. So let's just find somebody who's, I've got lots of, let's see if I can find somebody that's got the same last name here. Here we go. Here's two Sherry Phillips here. Let's say that was the same person. I would come to this Sherry Phillips here and be like, okay, here's Sherry Phillips. Yep. Is that the one I want to keep? Well, it doesn't have a primary contact. Oh, this one does. So that, okay, it's like, oh, you know what? This one right here, this is the one I want to delete. What I recommend if I'm working with a school, because I don't know these students, I'll put in here, delete, and I'll save that. So then when I follow the directions, I'm going to go back to my directions here. So it says, in a situation where you've added a student by mistake or added a student for demonstration purposes, and that would be another reason if you want to just have a fake student in there. You would remove the student who is never enrolled in your school by using the delete a student. Again, you can click on here to see the article feature to erase the student's data completely from your JMC site. They are gone. Attend or edit to delete a student. So when I come here now, I have to actually be in the district side. I think I'm in the building, but I think I need to be in the district. Yep. So it makes you go to the district. To do that, why? Because you want a district administrator doing this. I could type in Phillips, P-H-I-L. There we go. So let's see, here we go. Here's Sherry Phillips and here's Sherry Phillips. Which one do I delete? This one, because it says delete next to the last name. So you might know who they are. You can also do it by their student ID is another way you can do that. This just makes it easier for me. And then I click delete and click OK. And you're listed there. Okay. There we go. So then let's see what our helpful tip is here. Deleting a student should only be done in cases where the student's records are not supposed to exist, as it permanently removes all associated data. And I had talked about that before. So I took a live look at that. Jody, did you ever delete kids when you were working at your school, or was there opportunity?
Just in the same, yeah, just the same way that you said, if for some reason they got entered in twice or anything like that, but I never recommend it for anybody just because it does delete all of their data that is tied with them, report cards, grades, all of that thing. So
yeah, the most common might be, and I don't think it's a bad idea. Sometimes I'll set up a fake student, or I'll tell people, set up yourself as a fake student just to test things out, and then I would delete them out. I mean, that's the way to do it. But you also can just inactivate them, however you want to be able to manage that data. So any questions, Jody?
there are no questions.
Well, that's it. Let's go. Let's wrap this baby up. Upcoming webinars, we got next week, Lunch and Learn. In 2 weeks, we got Nebraska State Reporting Roundup and the Minnesota State Reporting Roundup. We'll touch base on these items again a little bit. Then 8-7, and the first week of August, what's new in Nebraska State Reporting and Wisconsin State Reporting Roundup. Then the second week of August, Iowa State Reporting and what's new in the Iowa State Reporting work session. So you can see we're really hammering away at these state reporting sessions. I can't stress enough, if somebody at your school or you does state reporting at your school, you have to attend those trainings or at least sign up and watch the video at a later date, because the Department of Ed is there with us and our programs. It's a great time. Our contest is your chance to deepen connections. Enter JMC's Community Messenger Contest, where you could score a communication strategy sesh with best-selling author, international speaker, and expert on human connection, Joe Beckman, by day, and a bonfire chat with the community by night. Grab the details by clicking on this link in the presentation. I see there's a question. I'll get to it in just a second here. Coming soon to you, summer check-in calls with the first day of school just around the corner. We'll be calling your office in August to answer any questions and walk you through the handy start of the school year checklist, where you can easily track and complete the to-dos. Until then, read about the checklist there. From bell schedules to instructional minutes, meals, and more, your school has a ton of data to navigate and submit to the state. For smooth reporting, explore our info-packed YouTube or playlist organized by each state for state reporting, and even more importantly, attend those state reporting training sessions. You can learn how to get new staff up to speed on JMC's Office and JMC Teacher through 6+ resources, including our comprehensive new user series on YouTube, in-app support chat, and more. Ready to take the load off the train process? Press play on this video. Also, every year in August, we have at least one training for new teachers. We've got that, I think it's the 3rd week of August, called the ABCs of Teacher. You should definitely attend that. So I know we have another question. What's that question there, Jody?
So the question is, it just says we have a question that is not related to this webinar. Do you want her to?
I would just email it into training@jmcinc.com, and we can get back to you on that as well, just so we don't, in case they're giving out personal information or information about their school. So I appreciate that. So on behalf of myself and the train team, thanks for your time today. Thanks for choosing JMC, and spread this training wide to all the folks who enroll or work with student enrollment at your school.